This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you want to get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
You know, some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com. ODOO.com.
Struggling to get out of bed? It might be time for an upgrade. Leesa makes exceptionally comfortable mattresses designed for every body and budget. But what truly sets them apart is their commitment to giving back. Since 2015, they've donated over 41,000 mattresses nationwide. Elevate your sleep and your space with Leesa. Go to Leesa.com for 20% off their award-winning mattresses, plus an extra $50 off with promo code IHEART. That's LEESA.com. Promo code IHEART for an extra $50 off.
Fan.
Off the glass, miss, rebound, the putback as the timer hits. Red line on, Broome puts it home. Timeout Auburn. It's an 18-4 run and a 12-point lead. The final 2 seconds fade. Zeros on the clock. The Tigers triumph for the first time in 6 years. Auburn is on to the Sweet 16. The #1 overall seed. Auburn dispatches of Creighton 82-70.
Well, looky here. Holy cow. Main man Parker Fox is in studio at Parker Fox 24 via the tweet machine. Follow him if you are so inclined. He's producer Parker for this segment. He made a play, and I've talked about it all show. Johni Broome is one of the very best players in college basketball and leads the Auburn Tigers into the Sweet 16 later this week. And lo and behold, producer Parker made a play. Johni, it's Paul Allen. Super cool. You're on the show with us. How are you? How's the body and mind after the Creighton win?
I'm doing good, PA. Body's good, mind's good. Advance to the Sweet 16. That's exciting. Especially in March Madness, trying to see how far we can go as a team.
Now, Parker, how'd you get Johni's cell phone number? I mean, how do you guys know each other?
Yeah, so I had a former teammate, Talon Cooper, who was a teammate of Johni's before he transferred to Auburn. Obviously, Talon and Johni became really good buddies. Johni's family has obviously got Minnesota roots, which we'll talk about. Mm-hmm. Super juiced to introduce you to him and vice versa.
Yeah, it's been fantastic, man, because Johni, I've heard from afar, calling Vikings games on the radio, that you and your father are big-time Minnesota Vikings fans. So, first and foremost, what's your father's name?
My father's name is John.
Okay.
Father's name is John. Mother's name is Julie. We're all just big Vikings fans, my whole family.
And that includes you, right?
Yes.
So being from Tampa Bay or that part of Florida, how did this happen? How did you guys become big Vikings fans?
So, it started, my dad, we started watching football. He was a fan of Randall Cunningham, who was at the Eagles. And then Randall Cunningham came to the Vikings, so he became a Vikings fan. And then he kind of went down the line from players like Randy Moss, Adrian Peterson, Brett Favre, Harrison Smith, Jared Allen. So he just kind of became a fan. And, the family became a fan was, on TV, the only thing I was playing was the Vikings. You know what I'm saying? So we kind of had to watch them when we was little. And then obviously seeing the Vikings and kind of knowing the players, now my favorite player is Justin Jefferson. So it kind of just became a thing, and we just kind of stuck with it.
That's fantastic. So, I mean, with the SEC, which is obviously super deep and super good. now the NCAA tournament, now the Sweet 16. You know, how have you followed free agency? Have you seen what the Vikings have done this offseason and, you know, all of that nonsensical Aaron Rodgers stuff the last couple of weeks? What have you thought about the Minnesota Vikings offseason?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've been following it for the most part. You know, we signed a lot of our guys back, like Bynum and, you know, people like that. But then also, you know, got rid of Sam Darnold. We just got the dude from 49ers, Mason, the running back.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, I mean, I've been following. We got Isaiah Rodgers, the cornerback.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, I mean, I keep up a little bit. You know,
Wow.
My dad sends me every trade that happens. So, I kind of get it in my phone already.
Yeah, and like, you know, like say, I don't know, passing game where you gotta fake the cut inside of the key, then come flaring out to the wing to maybe get a jump shot. You got to look at passing game, figure that out, box and one, who's the best on Creighton, and make sure they don't wreck the game. And Vikings free agency. You got a lot on your plate right now.
Yes, sir, I do.
This is Johni.
It's worth it though.
This is Johni Broome. He's one of the very best players in all of college basketball, and he's a stud for the Auburn Tigers, who might win the NCAA tournament into the Sweet 16. He's friends with Parker Fox. He's on 9 to noon. Parker?
Yeah, you know, Johni, we've obviously, you know, talked about your Vikings, your Minnesota connection already, but some people might not know is your trainer is Reed Ossie, a Minnesota guy, somebody that you've been connected for a while now. Not only is he your trainer, but he's kind of been around the program. I know he was with you guys in the first 2 games. What has that kind of been like to get to know Reed and have him as your trainer and to have that Minnesota connection?
You know, it's good. You know, me and Reed has built a relationship and a bond over the last couple of years. You know, I think it's more so, you know, he's a trainer, but he also somebody I could talk to. So when he's on his road trips, you know, we talk about guys on the Creighton team and the best way for me to score, how I'm going to get my looks, the best ways. And we kind of just go to the gym and kind of practice them a little bit and kind of visualize how my game's going to go.
Yeah, no doubt. And you know, I think about a player of your stature. You know, you're a guy that's, you know, a leading candidate for National Player of the Year, but wasn't always like that for you. You know, coming out of high school, you went to Morehead State. You didn't have, you know, the high, you know, the high major offers, all that kind of stuff. What has kind of been the most important part of your development, not only as a player, but as a leader, as a guy that just ultimately wants to win basketball games? How important has that been for you in your career?
It's been a lot. You know, like you said, I always wasn't this, you know, All-American type player, you know, but, you know, hard work pays off, you know. So when I came out of high school, I went to Morehead State, and I just keep working, put my head down, kept working, you know. Everybody said, you know, I was at a mid-major Morehead State, so, you know, I kept wanting to prove people wrong, so I came to the SEC, which I thought was the best conference in basketball. And I just kept wanting to get better, kept wanting to do better. And, yeah, you know, it pays off. You know, also the leadership role of things, you know, kind of going through it and seeing a lot of things while playing basketball in college. You kind of learn a lot of stuff from your older guys from previous years. So kind of giving it back to the younger guys so they know and ahead of the game.
Hey, Johni, you talked about the trainer, the Minnesotan Reed. And you know, obviously details and technique and film study, I mean, that all matters now more than it's ever mattered. But when it comes to details with your body and details with your diet, like how important is the trainer for somebody like you this time of the year? Because you play a very physical brand of basketball. And I can't imagine you get out of every single game just feeling 100%. So, like, the trainer is super important right now, right?
For sure. You know, we also have a dietitian at Auburn as well. So they kind of like correlate, kind of work together a little bit. It kind of goes hand in hand. Like, you know, even our strength coaches, we all have to have a connection with Reed as well. So it's kind of like make sure you feel your body after games. You know, make sure you kind of get a stretch in so the soreness, you're not as sore for the next games coming up, especially when you have 2 games in 2 days. So, Yeah, it just kind of goes things like that. Kind of like just make sure your body's always fueled, make sure you're always hydrated, because just take care of it.
Not trying to turn this into SEC Media Day, but like, what was it like going through the SEC this year? I mean, now, Kentucky gets the point guard back, so they're winning. All these, Alabama, I mean, all these teams you faced this year at times were really, really good, right?
For sure. It was a gauntlet. The SEC was amazing this year, probably the best conference it's ever been in history. You're down the line, and our probably closest game that we won was South Carolina, and they finished last this year. So, from the best team to the worst team, or the last team in the conference, it's a dogfight each and every night. A lot of games we won, we could have lost easily. It came down to one or two plays, but you look at right now, there's 7 teams in the Sweet 16 out of the SEC, so that just speaks volume to how good the SEC was this year. Now,
I would imagine at Auburn you have an athletes-only cafeteria, right?
Right.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Parker and I, mess around with it all the time. He's hanging out with the Gophers hockey player. He's hanging out with somebody on the volleyball team, stuff like that. And the reason I bring it up, Johni, Auburn running back Jarquez Hunter. Ever hung out with him at the athletes-only cafeteria? And if so, how good is he? How good is he? And would it be cool if the Vikings landed him?
It would be. He's a good explosive running back. I'll go to all the football games, the home ones. He's been to a couple of basketball games I saw in the crowd. So it would be fun to see someone who came from Auburn to, end up on the Vikings and, learn from guys like Madison and Aaron Jones.
Now, have you edge guy Jalen McLeod? You ever spent any athletes-only cafeteria time with him? I mean, my man has he had eight sacks last year, and maybe he's the game changer from Auburn. The Vikings like you. Ever hang out with him, Jalen McLeod?
For sure, yeah. We had a class together as well.
Sweet.
So we've talked before. He's like you said, he's a great edge rusher. He has a lot of potential, a lot of upside to his game as well. I like his game.
This is Johni Broome. Just a couple to close here. Very busy week for him. Why? He plays for the Auburn Tigers, who might win the NCAA tournament, are the top seed of all the teams in the tournament, and he's the best player on the team. Happens to know Parker Fox, nice enough to spend some time with us 9 to noon. He's also a big Minnesota Vikings fan. Likewise for his family. Just a couple to close. Parker?
Yeah, Johni, congratulations, obviously, in the first 2. That second one was a battle with Creighton. Obviously, they have a lot of size in Ryan Kalkbrenner, but you guys took care of business there, and now you move on to a Michigan team that doubles in size. They go 4-5 with Danny Wolf and Vlad Golden. How much time have you spent looking at them, and what's your initial thought on Michigan, and how does War Eagle get that one over the Wolverines?
It's going to be a good game. I've actually watched a lot of the games. One of my good friends who came to Auburn, Trey Donaldson, is their point guard. So me and him talk a lot. So when they're on, I kind of watch their games just because, I'm a fan of his. So, it's going to be a fun game. Like you said, they have 2 good inside players, and Vlad Golden and Danny Wolf. I like our matchup with them, though. We had a couple good frontline guys as well. So, I'm excited to play against a former teammate, and I'm ready to, try to go to this Final Four.
Yeah, you block like 3 shots a game. I'd like my matchup with them too. Parker?
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. You add him and you add Dylan Cardwell to that mix. That's a front line that not a lot of people want to play against. That's for sure. But you mentioned Trey Donaldson. He's a guy that we played against this year, and people have seen him in the Big Ten tournament making big shots. People have seen him already in this March Madness making big shots. What is it about Trey Donaldson that kind of has that almost clutch big shot making gene, and have you seen that getting to know him?
For sure. Obviously, he's from Florida, so we've been here for a while, so he kind of had that one and two that shot mentality. So he's a good player. He's a good point guard. He facilitates very well, and he lets get his teammates involved. But also, if need be, he can also put the ball in the basket as well and make plays.
So. I mean, you're being a Vikings fan, you and your family, Johni. I would imagine you're not like a big Detroit Lions fan, right?
No.
Oh, well, I mean, perhaps you see what's coming here because we got Ann Arbor on Friday. You play Friday, right?
Yeah, we play Friday.
Yep. So you got Ann Arbor, you got Michigan on Friday. And then, and I know it's one game at a time, but depending on how things go, you could get Izzo. How about that? I mean, and the Vikings had a rough time with the Lions last year, including that standalone Sunday night game where Darnold missed 5 touchdowns and pissed off everybody. So, I mean, this is an opportunity from afar, Johni Broome, to just run roughshod on the state of Michigan and ruin all of their college basketball dreams and in turn make Vikings fans happy. You know what I mean?
For sure. You know, I am definitely looking to do whatever it takes to help my Vikings out. You know, I watched all those games. You know, we all watched that Lions game last regular season.
It was awful.
It was bad, but you know, like you said, you know, state of Michigan, being a Vikings fan, just never really, you know, care for it too much. Just from the Lions point, they beat us twice this year, twice. But you know, taking one game at a time and trying to, you know, take care of business.
Yeah. But see, like when you talk about the Lions, you kind of sounded like me an hour and a half ago. It's like, yeah, I want the Vikings to beat the Lions. Okay, they're the target. Right. They're the target at which to shoot in the division because all of a sudden they've gotten good. But ain't nobody been tripping on the Lions for like 30 years. Now all of a sudden, you know, we got to pay attention to them because they're good. But it's kind of tough to like really hate on the Lions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I definitely feel you. They have a good team though, for sure.
All right. Lastly, I can't let you go without asking you this: Who are some of your favorite NBA teams and like NBA players? Because Parker, Nordo, the producer, and I, we watch a lot of NBA. And so we have favorite players and teams and stuff. But I'm curious, like, what teams do you like and like who are some of your favorite players?
You know, being a Minnesota Vikings fan, I just like the Timberwolves. I went to a couple games last year. I like Anthony Edwards. He's really good to me. I like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for the Thunder. He's pretty good. I like Jokic. I like Jason Tatum. You know, those are some guys. James Harden. You know.
James Harden at this stage of his career, I don't know if he's ever been better. He's phenomenal right now. You know. Hey, and go ahead.
He has been really good this year. But you know, I like him. He's my favorite player when he was at Houston.
Yeah,
that's when he averaged 6.
So like,
kind of just stuck with
your size and the way you play. You know, like, do you ever, like, what NBA players do you see where you're, like, your dad says it to you or somebody else says it to you or you think it yourself? Like, that guy, you know, you can play like that guy. Who in the NBA reminds you of you?
I mean, I think I'm still trying to find that, obviously, you know, playing in the NBA is different playing in college. You know, I think once you get to that next level, your game kind of transforms and kind of develops into a different player. So I think right now, I mean, I'm still searching to, you know, find that player.
I think Parker has one.
Hey, Johni, you just got to tell PA. Tell him I'm 1 of 1, man.
There we go.
I'm 1 of 1.
Well, I thought you were going to say like Bilal Coulibaly, and I'm going to be like, get the heck out of here, man. Are you kidding me? Come on.
Johni's 1 of 1, man.
Hey, take care of business this week and win them both, and we'll catch up soon. Okay, that was an honor, Johni, having you on the radio show. Big fan from afar. Very, very good at what you do, and we appreciate the time, man. Good luck against Michigan. All right.
Hey, one thing.
Yeah.
My dad wanted me to tell you, he loves the intro song, the rapper from Samson and Son.
the ba-ba-da-da-da-da.
Yes, sir.
Sanford and Son theme. There it is. Yeah, Quincy Jones production. It's called Street Beater, and it's all we listened to when I grew up in Washington, D.C. So tell your dad I said thank you. Maybe he's listening now on the free iHeartRadio app. Hey, God bless you and your family. And anytime you're up here, man, if there's anything I can do to help, like get to a game or like meet or something like that, man, it'd be an honor. So thank you very much and best of luck.
Thank you. Best of luck to y'all, too.
Yep, see ya. Janine. Oh, he was going to say War Eagles, wasn't he?
It probably was.
I don't get the War.
We should.
Tigers.
Next week we'll have to ask about the whole War Eagle bit.
Yeah, but hold on. No, we're about ready to give you a little bit of love here.
Next week.
Man. Well, I mean, that's
Weekly guest, Johni Broome.
okay. Yeah, but you know what?
$19,000 a year in Continental Diamond endorsement.
Pete Fox.
Oh, are you kidding me? Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
Thank you for your kindness.
Thank you.
Your connections are great. Your connections are going to happen with a life that you live or have lived or will live. But the kindness part doesn't have to take place. And it did. And thank you.
Thank you. But you could tell his genuine,
It was great.
genuine
he was excited to do it.
excitement for you and for Vikings fans.
It's unbelievable. I'm touched.
How cool is that? How cool is that? That
Yes.
him and his dad listened to you and all the way down in Florida.
Yeah,
I can't get a hold of Lavelle at spring training, but we can get Johni Broome on. I'm getting
Right.
Bolitnikov's fax machine, but we can have the SEC Player of the Year on. I like it.
And his father, what was his father's name? John?
John, yeah.
Yeah, John. I got all your albums. What's going on? Quincy Jones, Street Beater. You know what I'm talking about. Old schoolers stick together. But even if his dad doesn't listen to the radio show, but it just, I have a feel from somewhere, not here, he's just waiting for 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Tampa time for That's fantastic, man. That was great. That's a highlight. Appreciate you. Stick around for a little bit. We'll chat more, okay?
Let's do that.
Johni Broome. Who knew?
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, everybody. So when you get asked, what is Odoo, what comes to mind? Well, I'll tell you, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But, some people also say that Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable.
Oh. But then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. Whatever your business needs, manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So what is Odoo? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it.
Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Struggling to get out of bed? It might be time for an upgrade. Lisa makes exceptionally comfortable mattresses designed for every body and budget. But what truly sets them apart is their commitment to giving back. Since 2015, they've donated over 41,000 mattresses nationwide. Elevate your sleep and your space with Lisa. Go to lisa.com for 20% off their award-winning mattresses, plus an extra $50 off with promo code IHEART. That's LEESA.com. Promo code IHEART for an extra $50 off.
On ESPN, there just was a graphic here in the 651 Carpets Plus studios where it's like, I missed it. Now they went to a commercial, but it was like no big, like Sweet 16 surprises with everybody from the ACC, the Big Ten, the SEC, the Big 12, stuff like that. Okay, a couple of things here. A, they've jacked with the conferences so much the last 3 years. I mean, who's where and why? And here's what I'm getting at.
It's true.
Because it's BYU has not been fresh since Danny Ainge played there.
That's true.
So BYU can be a 5 or whatever seed it was, a higher, relatively higher seed.
Yeah, 6 seed, I think.
Ain't nobody tripping on BYU because nobody ever sees them. Their games are late on, what are they in? The Big 12? I mean, the Pac-12?
No, they're in the Big 12.
The
You're
Big
right.
12.
Yeah,
Big 12.
You're in the Big 12. Yep.
Ain't nobody watching BYU. Okay. The only reason people watch Gonzaga is if they're up late on a Monday and they happen to be playing St. Mary's.
Yep.
I mean, that's like the immortality type matchup.
You're right.
So I would respectfully disagree with what I just saw, where BYU in the Sweet 16, I'm not saying it's a shocker, but I mean, it sticks out amongst a lot of these blue bloods.
Yeah, it definitely does. And I think that's a team that some people were high on just with the route that they had. They played a good VCU team in the first round.
BYU's the bomb.
Yeah, they're the bomb.
Yeah, I hadn't watched them again since Danny Ainge played. That's a good basketball team.
Really good team. They got a lot of pieces. They have the oldest player in college basketball as well. Only guy that's older than me this past year. So,
he was older than you?
The only guy. Yeah, only one. 1998 guy on their roster. I'm a February 99. So he's the only one that had me beat as a 26-year-old in college hoops. But no, that BYU team is really solid. They had a good test against VCU in the first round, beat them, and then they played a kind of a wounded giant in Iowa State last night and took care of business there. And now they go on to an Alabama team that's a little beat up as well with North Dakota native Grant Nelson, a little hobbled, but hopefully he'll be back and ready to roll.
Don't you think part of it, though, is we crave with the tournament, we crave runs.
Yes.
So like McNeese getting the one win, and then they got like that, that equipment manager who apparently makes more NIL than quarterbacks of, high conference college teams.
Like the older lady who was with the Loyola Chicago team.
Sister Jean.
Yeah, right. I get that.
So you crave that, and then, but you do look at it, you're right, BYU, nobody's been watching BYU for a long time. So you kind of got to dig a little bit deeper for stories. But you look, the lowest seed that advanced, I think, is a 10 in Arkansas. So you're like, okay, that's a nice little run. They beat Pitino's team. Well, then there's a fair amount of college basketball fans who are like, but Calipari's the coach. Right. Like, that's not very exciting.
Right.
So I think in some ways, the predictable, all the ones moved on, all but one of the twos, and all but one of the threes. And so they were kind of, you're trying to hook into a story. We just kind of latched on, like Auburn, highly touted, top seed in the tourney.
Latched on? I mean, I'm looking at Wolves draft picks to see how many we gave up in the Stifle trade. Do we have one this year? And how do we get up to the Broome spot?
But that's the thing is we connected with Johni Broome last segment. So now it's like, hell yeah, let's go Auburn Tigers, War Eagle. I have no problem saying it. But
they're the Tigers. What's War Eagle? Any idea?
It's no clue.
Okay,
no clue of that background. We will find out.
Got it.
But I think there's just kind of a lack of stories. You see that at all, Parker?
Yeah, I definitely do, and you're right. I think everybody's rooting for the Cinderella. I think everybody wants to see the FGCU Dunk City and all the pomp and circumstance when it comes to that.
We need another Baltimore County. Wasn't that Baltimore County?
Maryland,
the first 16
Florida Atlantic.
Yeah,
recently, right?
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. So those are things you're wishing for, and I think NIL has probably changed that. But you look at an Arkansas team, and it's the fakest 10 seed you've ever seen. They have a north of $5 million NIL budget. They have John Calipari, the whole 9 yards. This is not a 10 seed in the tournament, and I think that's why they proved that.
Well, the big man's good.
Oh,
yeah, I can't remember any of the names. Like I keep calling the Colorado State guy from Minnesota the 5'11", 170 kid.
Bourne, baby,
because of the backdoor cut.
Bourne.
The first time I've ever seen him play, and I was who knew? I mean, certainly the Maryland guy trying to guard him on the backdoor cut didn't know how fast he was.
Yeah,
but yeah, I understand. So props to the Pomeroys of the world who laid these seeds out.
Yeah,
well done. I'm saying BYU, Arkansas to a certain extent, or
Old Miss,
St. Mary's.
Okay.
No, excuse me. Alabama hasn't been fresh since Bree played there. Who just Ole Miss? Yeah. Okay, so in good conferences, probably have won some decent games during the year.
No doubt.
If those teams make the Elite Eight or the Frozen Four, especially BYU. Well, that's got some Cinderella to it.
Yeah, I know, and it for sure does. You look at a team, I think, like Ole Miss that, they bring in Coach Chris Beard, who was at Texas Tech for years, comes in there and kind of revitalizes that program. When you think of Ole Miss, you don't really think of basketball, at least in my recent knowledge. No. PA, you probably have some more knowledge going back, but I don't know if Ole Miss is...
I remember Arkansas was fresh with 40 minutes of hell is what they called it. Nolan Richardson was the coach.
Woo Pig Suey.
There you go. Yep. And Auburn, when it had a nice little run there. It went from like Latrell Sprewell to Antonio McDyess. think Bob Orry might have played there. So, I mean, they had some immortality there back in the day. But another thing from the NCAA tournament, Shaka Smart. Okay, was it Virginia Commonwealth that he made that run with?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. The out of nowhere and Shaka Smart. Then he gets a lot of money from Texas. Now he's at Marquette. Does Shaka Smart ever win in the NCAA? You talk about somebody taking one capsule of success and just getting the last drop of metaphorical blood out of that tournament. Because he never does anything in the NCAA tournament. Now he's with Marquette. They got bounced in the first game, man, you know?
Yeah, and they lost to our very own Richard Pitino's New Mexico Lobos down there. And I think that was a one that a lot of people were picking. That's a 10-7 matchup that a lot of people looked at and were like, hey, Shaka Smart, Marquette, don't love what these guys do. Let's ride on the New Mexico train. And I think that was a good one. I don't know. I picked it in my bracket at least.
Which of the Big Ten teams that are remaining are you feeling the best about? I mean, Michigan's got no shot against Mr. Broome and the Tigers. But let's look whether it's Izzo, of course. It's going to be and Ole Miss, by the way. I don't know where their Ken Palm rankings or anything. They've looked really good. They let North Carolina creep back into that first game, but they kind of ran through Iowa State. So, but Ole Miss with Izzo, you got the Cougars taking on Purdue. Where's the Big Ten sitting in this tournament?
Yeah, I think, you look at the first one, you look at Auburn, Michigan. I think Auburn's just too much. I truly think this is Auburn's tournament to lose. Johni Broome, Tahad Pettiford, I think it's just too much for Michigan, although they're a very talented team. Looking down to Ole Miss, Michigan State. Ole Miss is one of those teams that was kind of, middle to higher pack of the SEC. Won the games they're supposed to win, probably lost the tight ones to, the Tennessees and the Auburns of the world.
Iron sharpens iron.
But you're right, and that's exactly the point I was getting to is, you go through that gauntlet of the SEC and, now you got to play a Michigan State team that, plays a very unique style of basketball. They get up and down. They push the tempo. They sub in, 5 out, platoon squad. Jason Richardson's son getting downhill to his left hand. That's a team that I really like, that Michigan State game there. Florida, Maryland, that's a tough one. We saw a nice game winner from Maryland, but Florida's got it going on. They're a special team. I think Florida's a Final Four team. And then lastly, the one that I think can happen in a 1-4 upset would be the Purdue-Houston. Houston plays a very fun style of basketball. They play their tails off. They play very physical, but Purdue can match that. And they have, in my opinion, National Point Guard of the Year, Braden Smith, the head of their horse. And I think Purdue can pull off that 4-1 upset.
See, looking at Arkansas and knowing Calipari's the coach. All right, so John leaves Lexington, goes to Arkansas, brings half the Wildcat team with him.
Yeah, DJ Wagner.
Yeah, I mean, some really, really good players were just at Kentucky last year. So I watched the game at Lexington with the Preacher when Calipari came back in there. I mean, if you're a Kentucky Wildcats fan, you're super negative. I mean, he just came in there and won the game.
No doubt.
At a spot, they kicked him out of the Covenant. So that was a big, big moment. And I watched Arkansas, and I'm like, okay, Arkansas is cool. But, when you're thinking about spotting up, when you're thinking about, polling for teams moving forward, Arkansas, it's been strange because Kansas, Bill Self's team, injuries or whatever, this is happening a lot. They're just losing early in the tournament.
No doubt.
But I think they won in 23 or 22 something.
Probably.
Yeah. I don't think we have to go back that far, do we?
No, not for Kansas.
Okay.
Not for Kansas.
So Kansas, blue blood, 7 seed, bounced, and it was relatively easy, in my opinion. Well, then you beat a St. John's team. They haven't been fresh since Chris Mullen played there or Malik Sealy or Bill Wennington or Felipe Lopez. The prayer is answered. So I didn't think St. John's was much, quite honestly, when I watched a majority of that game. Yeah. I was surprised they won as many games as they did. Maybe Arkansas just really hit a peak there. But when you look at Arkansas, beat St. John's, beat Kansas. It's a 10 against a 3 coming up here against Texas, coming up against who they got next?
Texas Tech.
Yeah, Texas Tech.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of that game?
Yeah, you were right about Kansas, 2022 national champs.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Arkansas, they're an interesting team because you look at this matchup with Texas Tech and, former point guard of mine at the University of Minnesota, Elijah Hawkins, who just set the single-season assist record for Texas Tech. So, got to give him his flowers there. But
so, he got some NIL, I would assume.
Yeah,
Good for him.
That's the way it goes these days.
I got you.
No doubt about it. But I look forward to this game because Arkansas's got some stud. You mentioned the big man earlier, Adu, transfer from.
Is that who he is?
Yeah.
Guy with the dreads?
Yeah, guy with the dreads, number 9. Yeah, he's a problem. Jonas Adu, he was a transfer from Tennessee, spent 3 years there. So
I'm sorry I paused. I get staccato thinking, is it cool for the masses, for me, like how I described? It's hard to describe people that you don't know their names and you don't mean anything from your heart. But
dreads are noticeable.
Right.
And they're identifiable.
Yeah, but he had a headband. Why didn't you say the guy with the headband? Because 3 people wore headbands, dumbass. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, man.
Hey, is Dan Hurley? I mean, and they won back-to-back, super cool.
Yeah.
But like
he makes me want to hurl.
Well, that's the thing is some of the viral audio that's creeping out. This guy might be a complete ass.
But let's go back to a victory they had over Creighton a few months ago.
Yeah.
And I retweeted this thing and commented. I'm like, okay, now I took an L, a little bit of an L.
Yeah.
Because not following it that closely, I didn't know Creighton was that good.
Yeah, they're very good.
Yeah, okay. At that time, they were quite good.
Yeah.
But he's like leaving the gym in Nebraska, Creighton's in Nebraska, right?
Omaha.
Yeah, Omaha. And he's looking at the crowd and he's pointing to his ring finger like, we got rings. Yes, we do. We got rings. You have nothing. And I'm like, are you kidding me? He's really doing this?
Yeah, that's
after
really.
winning was it back-to-back championships?
Yeah, back-to-back.
That's ridiculous. That's so pompous, juvenile, and petulant. He lost me right there. Now, the locker room thing, or the tunnel thing Nordo's talking about right here.
Yeah.
That's an emotional coach who didn't think the officiating went his way, looked at the Baylor coaches and teams, about ready to run out there saying, hey, Baylor, hope these refs don't rip you off like they just did against us. What do you think?
Well, I think to start that, I don't think the refs could have helped Baylor in any way when you're going up against Duke and Cooper Flagg. So there was no help there.
Yeah.
But
Cooper Flagg is no Johni Broome, but anyway.
Oh, yeah, 100% agree. But Dan Hurley is, I think everybody's seen it. They've seen it from his dad, who was a historic high school coach, and down to his brother, Bobby, who was a stud at Duke. The dad is and I don't know the exact school, but he's
like in New Jersey. He's like Immortality.
High school coach.
Right.
And I think all these people would send their sons to, his school. And I don't know if it was a prep school or what it was, but I think he recruited nationally and had a bunch of McDonald's All-Americans, 5 stars. So I think coaching has kind of been rooting in the Hurley blood. And he's intense, man. I didn't love the Creighton deal. I got a lot of love for the Creighton coaching staff. Alan Huss, who's now the head coach at High Point. Mike Miller's brother, Ryan Miller, who just got the head job at
High Point, the one that played Purdue?
Yep. Yeah.
Rob, it's a 10-point, 11-point finish. Mm-hmm. They played Purdue a lot better than that final score indicates.
1,000%. Another transfer from Minnesota, Abdoulaye Thiam, who I was teammates with for a year, major part of that High Point team. So, just got a lot of respect for the Creighton coaching staff.
That's the third time you said that.
I know, Minnesota transfer.
Nico Medved, just if you listen to the last 20 minutes, you just learned the secret sauce to helping this team get to the NCAA tournament.
Just keeping the kids.
Eliminate Minnesota transfer. That part of the vernacular.
Well, it's funny because
and Pharrell Payne just had like an unbelievable, almost like a 30-15 type game.
Yeah, exactly.
Couldn't get over the hump against Michigan. Wouldn't be bad to have Pharrell hanging out here. He's a pretty good player.
I think every game I watched, I was like, oh, there's a Minnesota kid. There's a Minnesota transfer. Oh, there's this and that. So
McAndrew from Wayzata.
Yeah, there's another one.
So I'm watching this
freshman
lanky, this lanky kid for Creighton in the first game. I'm like, damn, it's like during the Friday football feast. It was the first game that I was watching. I was like, damn, Creighton's good. Who's this guy? Looked him up a little bit. Something McAndrew, freshman Wayzata, making memories as a freshman for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that had some things to say about what his career was going to be like after high school. And I didn't watch him much in high school, but I saw him enough to realize that the kid's a stud. And he showed it. He went into the Big East. He started, I don't know if he won freshman of the year, but I'm sure he was all freshman team. Shoots the lights out of it. Good kid, Wayzata, Minnesota, stand up. So
is Duke just going to score just massive lopsided W's on everybody and meet up with Auburn?
They look so good, and they take pride. Like the old age term created by Jim Rome used to be going Spurrier on somebody. Steve Spurrier, Florida Gators.
Yep.
I mean, he'd beat you 70-15, and they would keep the best players in forever.
Again.
Right. Yeah, Herb Brooks.
Get on the line, baby.
But Duke, They really take pride in just humiliating you when they have a 25-point lead.
And I think John Shire has that it factor to him, too. I was listening to Pat Beverly talk about how good of a player John Shire was coming out of Chicago, wasn't afraid of nobody. I actually, Minnesota connection here, Joe Ingles was the one who poked his eye out, and John Shire had to have emergency eye surgery, and I think he's basically blind now from a Joe Ingles finger to the eye. Yeah, that's the story Pat Beverly told.
Who's John Shire?
John Shire, head Duke coach.
Thank you.
Yeah, played at Duke back in the day. Yeah, former player, Chicago. Pat Beverly talks extremely high, being a Chicago guy.
Yeah, I know that.
And I think
high and tight, no dreads.
Yeah, high and
just in case we're curious.
Pat Beverly, high and tight, no dreads, upstanding individual, button-down collar, easy to describe. All right, 3-2.
Killing me over here.
Lastly, for this segment, Tennessee, Kentucky.
Oof.
It's going to be the bomb.
Oof.
Now, the Wildcats beat Tennessee twice this year. They beat them one time when Tennessee was down Forbes, the point guard.
Yeah.
And then that guy has no interest in scoring.
Yeah.
What a ball distributor he is, and he's thick with the upper body.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's back, and he missed a bunch.
Yeah.
But Kentucky beat Tennessee one time, down its three best players. So it's the age-old, can you beat a team 3 times in 1 year? That's going to be tough. Here come the Wildcats and Volunteers. No, they can beat them, and they're not afraid of them. And it's hard to not be afraid of Tennessee. Because the Volunteers, man, when they slap that defense on you with all those lengthy guys, that's Tennessee's good.
Yeah, and they got a two-headed horse in Chaz Lanier, who's a transfer from North Florida, and then Zakai Ziegler, who's their point guard. I was actually his host when he came and visited Minnesota.
Northern transfer.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Another one. But no, that's going to be, I think that's the game of the Sweet 16 for me. It's a SEC matchup. It's a tight one. It's two teams that don't like each other. Rocky Top versus Big Blue Nation. It's going to be a fight.
Well, if you have time, love to see you Thursday.
I'll be here.
Put a preview on these games for Thursday and Friday, and the Wolves will have played Indiana by then. And I'll see you Thursday, all right?
We'll see you Thursday.
That's Parker Fox at Parker Fox 24 via the tweet machine. Provided 9 to noon with Johni Broome at 11 o'clock. Podcast that. Yeah, that Johni Broome for Auburn. It was fun.
Hey, everybody. So when you get asked, what is Odoo, what comes to mind? Well, I'll tell you, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But, some people also say that Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable.
Oh, but then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. Whatever your business needs, manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So what is Odoo? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it.
Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Struggling to get out of bed? It might be time for an upgrade. Lisa makes exceptionally comfortable mattresses designed for every body and budget. But what truly sets them apart is their commitment to giving back. Since 2015, they've donated over 41,000 mattresses nationwide. Elevate your sleep in your space with Lisa. Go to lisa.com for 20% off their award-winning mattresses, plus an extra $50 off with promo code iHeart. That's LEESA.com. Promo code iHeart for an extra $50 off.
Be right back.
Man.
I can't wait until tomorrow. 'Cause tomorrow might very well be too late.
You can have Cooper Flag. 9 to noon will take Johni Broome. Clearly one of the great college basketball players in the history of James Naismith sport. For he was on 9 to noon today at 11 o'clock. Podcast that, KFAN.com. Program around the corner. And Frozen 4. College hockey, though. Bob Motzko joins 9 to noon tomorrow, about 9:20. And he'll put a proper preview on festivities in Fargo. We're going to be rooting for the Howl this evening. We'll be rooting for the Con this evening. And we will be rooting for the Wild this evening. Got a lot of festivities taking place, and now we got to figure out how to start the Minnesota chapter of the Johni Broome fan club, which that's all I can think about. Guy's a Vikings fan. Father's a Vikings fan. Father listens to 9 to Noon so frequently, he actually knows the song starts with Street Beater by Quincy Jones, otherwise known as the Sanford & Son theme.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So Parker, Johni, John, Quincy Jones, God rest your soul, everybody else, thank you very much. But most importantly, thank all of you for listening to 9 to Noon. I'm Paul Lowland. We will rise and shine at 9 together tomorrow for another edition of the Love Covenant on KFAN, your audio home leader. Here comes Big Daddy Khan. Put a wrap on the show.
Good stuff. Big boy's back. There are many, many positives I can get out of this game.
The game is over.
Parker rolls in with his buddy Johni Broome. He and his dad tuning in for the boom. Big help with the hoops-loving Cume. Michigan and Michigan State loom. Monday, it was a bit of potpourri. The Wild suddenly on a scoring spree. Hold on, looking at box scores. Is that the number 3? Goals coming in bunches, man. Could have fooled me. Now the Wolves up against it tonight in Indy. The tumbleweeds blow through there when it's windy. But now they're a fully healthy operation while we sweat and a finger laceration. Gophers went and picked up a Nico. Micheletti still texting me, calling me Miko. Hockey team starting a journey back where they've been before. Thursday embarking a grind to get back to the Frozen Four.
Get it in here. I got one thing to say.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
You know, some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com, ODOO.com.
Struggling to get out of bed? It might be time for an upgrade. Leesa makes exceptionally comfortable mattresses designed for every body and budget. But what truly sets them apart is their commitment to giving back. Since 2015, they've donated over 41,000 mattresses nationwide. Elevate your sleep and your space with Leesa. Go to Leesa.com for 20% off their award-winning mattresses, plus an extra $50 off with promo code iHeart. That's LEESA.com, promo code iHeart for an extra $50 off.